The views on a Breath of Fresh Air podcast reflects the parties involved, and we encourage you all to use it as a conversational tool that will lead to personal studies of your own.
Hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
Welcome to a Breath of Fresh Air podcast. Here with your hosts, Earl Roberts and Nakhaz Gay. As a young person, Christianity can be so foggy, like smoke in the mirrors and so unclear. But we're here to bring you a breath of fresh air.
This war has gotten out of control. Retreat! Retreat! If they were to capture me, Abner, leader of the army, Saul's kingdom will surely be taken away. I gotta get out of here.
Where does Abner think he's going? Does he not know I'm as fleet-footed as a wild gazelle? I'm gonna catch him.
Sounds like someone's following me. This guy's fast. That must be Azahel. Are you Azahel?
Yes, I am.
Stop chasing me. Go to the left or to the right. Just leave me alone.
No, I will not stop pursuing you. Stop asking. I am going to catch you. I am going to bring you to my brothers.
This man would not stop chasing me. Azahel, please stop chasing me.
I already told you. I am not turning around.
I won't be able to look your brother in the face if I were to harm you. How would he take it if I were to kill you because you were chasing me?
You're not gonna hit me. I'm too fast.
I must do something or he's gonna kill me. Ah!
Despair. It went through me.
I tried to prevent this.
King Saul had fallen in battle. Everyone knew David should be the next rightful king. But how will the nation of Israel actually react to the news? This week, we find out as we dive into the story in 2 Samuel chapters 2 and 3. As always, be blessed and enjoy.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of a Breath of Fresh Air podcast. My name is Earl Roberts.
My name is Nakhaz Gay, and we are the Breath of Fresh Air podcast. I just could go ahead and do it.
I was like, is he about to do this?
Yeah, I got to, bro, because we just be dumbfounded at that point. Oh, this is far as we practiced.
Oh my. Hopefully everyone out there had a great week. Great week full of the Lord's blessings. It's always great when you come together on the Sabbath and just take a time to reflect, a time to slow down, a time to just reflect on the week, really. And I just love it because it's a break for me. It's just a break. I remember growing up, I never cared, quite honestly, because it was like a burden. It was like, man, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this on the Sabbath. But as you get older, you're like, woo, this like a get out of jail free card.
Telling you.
I don't got to feel guilty about not doing homework because my time in college was like, woo, man, I ain't got to worry about doing nothing on Saturday, living guilt-free. I ain't got to worry. And then you just start to appreciate that rest. Had a long week of tests, a bunch of exams, a bunch of studying, a bunch of doing all the other stuff. You're like, okay, I could just relax on Saturday. Ain't got to worry about getting up too early. Ain't got to worry about being this place and that place. Ain't got to worry about doing nothing too mentally draining. I could just, go in nature, go on a walk, just reflect, man. I definitely love it. So I don't know. What about you? Did you like Sabbath growing up as a kid?
Bro, it wasn't until I went to college, like you saying, bro, that I actually even, God is talking about, like, if you don't, if you don't, if you consider the Sabbath a blessing, you know what I'm saying, and don't do things of your own will, like,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's in Isaiah. I think it's like, anyway, I can't remember, but just type in Isaiah and Sabbath, and you can get there one way or the other. But it wasn't until I was on my own, kind of, sort of, in college, that I could appreciate the Sabbath. Because before, I didn't really have my own, bro. When you're in school, bro, I mean, most of your problems just surrounded by school anyway. Like, for the most part, I could speak from my experience. That's where all of the drama coming from, tests and all type of stuff. It's just school related. But when you got to worry about making money and doing adulting and school, you get a appreciation just for ability to unplug and to replug. So you unplug from the world and you reconnect with the power source, which is God. That's the first time I ever was like, oh, okay, now I see why you say to do this. This makes sense now. And I remember my boy, he just started playing dominoes, bro. And he pick up his cards, or dominoes as people call it, and he say, bro, let's wash over or shuffle over. Let's shuffle over because I have all of the same number, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my boy Cardell was like, bro, be smart, bro. That's a good thing. Don't tell everybody you have all of the same number. If you play dominoes, you know that if you have the more numbers that you have means the less. Let's say the number was 5. The more 5s you have, that means the last 5 everybody else.
And the else have, yep.
It's only 7. So if you have 6, that means it's only one more out of there. So if you play that 7, I mean that's whatever number. I just say 5. I think it was. If you play that 5, then more than likely someone is gonna pass on that because only one other person has it. So the
Domino 101, ladies and gentlemen.
Domino 101. The point I'm making is that if you are unlearned, or if you just a beginner, at certain things, or if you just ain't reached that level of your spirituality or just your understanding of the world, you might look at the Sabbath and say, this is a chore, but that's because you don't know how to play the game, or you don't know the way God intended for us to live life, And then when you actually learn and you actually maneuver through life, you realize, oh, this is a good thing. That's crazy. I thought this was a bad thing all along until I actually experienced it the right way, or experienced it, period. And now I love it. And I just challenge everybody. I hear people say this all the time, and I just really like it. I challenge you to keep the Sabbath holy and see what God does, and see how God rewards you, or how God just acknowledges your effort in that, And one other thing, I'd be remiss if I didn't say it, that, it is in the 10 Commandments, you know what I'm saying? Now, whether you believe it's not valid in the 10 Commandments or not, that's a different story for a different time. I can't see how you can say that, but it's in the 10 Commandments, and God handwrote that. And so the Sabbath is something that we should, keep holy.
Amen and amen. Taste and see that the Lord is good. I mean, it's the character. Well, I mean, in person from the podcast really wrote that. I think in Psalms 34, could be mistaken. I like how we fell off about including the Psalms in David's story.
and I gotta write a sermon on Psalms, bro. And I'm just like, bro, I should have done better.
Oh my! But taste and see that the Lord is good. That's very important, man. Like how David say, taste and see that the Lord is good.
Mm-hmm.
I remember growing up, I was a very picky eater. And we're gonna get to the episode at some point. But I was a very picky eater. My mom used to say, just taste it. You might like it. And I used to be like, no, I ain't tasting it. And they used to make me mad when you actually eat it and you like it.
And you actually like it. You like, man, I do all that for nothing.
I do all that for nothing.
And it's funny because you angry because you don't want to taste it. It doesn't look appealing, right? But as soon as you taste it and it's appealing to you, your whole mood just changes, bro. That's just how your body works, bro. You just not mad anymore. Oh, this is really good.
I was tripping.
She was right.
This what I've been missing.
I see why you was the parent and I'm the child now.
Oh my, but yeah, man, like this is a challenge to everyone. Keep the Sabbath holy. And I was just talking to literally one of my friends today, man, and they were saying like, man, they really trying to put God, like, make a concerted effort to put God first in more aspects of their life. And I was saying, and they was like, you know, man, sometimes I don't feel comfortable talking about this with other people. And I was like, man, it comes to a point when you just got to realize that your friends, your family, your loved ones ain't going before God for you. And that time you have to answer for your own sins. You got to answer for your own life. So like if God has given you this conviction to do certain things, don't worry about what the crowd is going to say. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, you gotta act your convictions, granted, making sure these convictions are biblically sound, as I was talking to this person and they were. And I'm like, man, you gotta, and who doesn't respect that's on them, but I can't let someone else stop me from doing what I know is right. So,
bro, all right. Oh man, I hate. Anyway, I'm gonna just go.
Go for it.
No, I said I hate prolonging. You know what I mean? But and y'all might think I'm lying. I don't really hate it that much. You understand? I don't wish to do it, but I don't hate it.
That's where the Spirit leads.
I'm telling you, bro. So I've been reading the New Testament. You know, I feel like for years on the board, that's where I've been at. You know, right now I'm in the book of Romans, bro.
Oh, that's my book.
And you know, you would mention Paul a lot, but I only know some of the letters, bro. I wasn't that familiar with Acts and, you know, the timeline on these things. But anyway, so he writing the book of Romans and he giving a full account. Like, I think it's like Romans 1 or Romans 2, because I didn't make it past there. And the text came up where he said, I am not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And the overall point he was making is, bro, I am going to tell the truth. Because I know this is going to save people. I know this is going to heal people. And I know this is for the betterment of everyone's spirituality, whether you agree with Christianity or not, no matter your religion, this is going, like he is convicted that this is the truth because it is the truth. And he took the time to say, I am not ashamed of the gospel. And that just gave me a little bit more insight on how I should feel because, you know, I am not ashamed. I have that in one of my bios on social media. I'm not ashamed of the gospel. I was really trying to say, like, I'm a Christian, you know what I'm saying? And I'm willing to tell you the good news at any given time. But even in that context, it was kind of helping me to realize, bro, nothing is going to stop me from, the man was arrested. You understand what I'm saying? He was facing death. You know, people was trying to kill him, you know, on his way to trial. And he was like, bro, I'm going to keep saying it, bro. Because I'm not ashamed of this, bro. I am proud of this, you know? And we can see that to the fullest extent. And I feel like that's where we need to get. Like, even before this part, I was just telling you, one of my boys was hitting me up just now, but he was just hitting me up about music. He tried to call me, and I told him, yo, I can't talk. I'm recording the podcast. He said, yo, send the link. Now, I don't know, this is one of my friends from the neighborhood. I don't know if he is aware of the podcast at all. And I sent it to him. You know what I'm saying? Part of me felt like, I don't send it to him. Just gonna make you look corny or whatever. I'm like, no, bro. You know, if my friend needs to like get on track, this might be one of the catalysts, you know what I'm saying, to help him get on track. I'm not ashamed, bro. You know? And, you know, I feel like that's the point where I've been trying to work towards. And I feel like I've been improving in that front, you know?
Amen. And that was in Romans 1, verse 16, for anyone who wanted to just go double check that. And man, I encourage everyone to read Romans, man, especially Romans 1. Like, anyway, I'm gonna let it go. Let it go.
No, that really spoke to me.
Romans 1 and whew, hey, let me go. The Holy Oh, anyway, ladies and gentlemen. Here's what you came here for. Not saying that you didn't come here for anything else. I mean, hopefully you're blessed by our conversations, man. Like, it's all spiritually inspiring. And these are things that people just need to hear. Like, I mean, even if it isn't like you personally, like, again, we said like three episodes ago, be unapologetically Christian. And you see how these things start to tie back in and just looping on itself. Like, be not ashamed to be a Christian. Be not ashamed to be a follower of Jesus Christ. Because if you truly believe you have the truth, then what are you ashamed of?
Hmm.
Like, just
No, that's a fact though. That's a fact, bro. If you believe and you know that you are completely correct, what are you ashamed of? And I'll go even further, bro. This is the analogy I used to say all the time, bro. If you know somebody who's about to die, bro, would you just be like, I mean, it's whatever. If he want to die, that's his choice. You know, people on the pathway that does not lead to heaven, and we mind our business. I mean, that's his life, bro. You know what I'm saying? Who am I? You feel me? But truly, if you love this person, you would not even try. You know, bro? I can see a stranger about to crash his car, and if I could distract him or stop him from crashing, I would try to stop him. A complete stranger.
mm-hmm.
I can see somebody on the side of the road changing a tire, bro. I've helped people who I don't even know change their tires, you know. But when it comes to losing your life, eternal damnation, why would I stop? Why would I not help you if I feel like if I feel like you're in grave danger of possibly dying forever? If I love you, or if I claim to love you, I would try to help you. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
Absolute facts, man. Absolute facts. And I guess this is my last point on this, unless you want to go on. But to me, that's the mentality that we should have more often, because it's not cool to have the mentality. It's not in the forefront of our mind. But think about it. Like, if you really truly love someone, nothing here on earth is worth it. Oh man, something else came to my mind, but I'm gonna suppress this for right now. It's gonna come up with some other point. But we see in Ecclesiastes, all of this on earth is just vanity, chasing after the smoke, chasing after the wind. The only thing that matters on this earth is really and truly, if we just being honest with ourselves, is learning and getting connection with our Lord and Savior. That's really what we're here for. And helping everyone else along the way to build that connection. Yes, God uses us to bless others. Yes, God wants us to have an abundant life. Yes, these things are true, but God also, above all else, wants us to know Him.
mm-hmm.
So, yeah, man, you have this mentality. You have this mentality. You go through life saying, man, if I can help you if I can plant the seed in you, let the Holy Spirit water it, and you can come get closer to Jesus, man, I'm here for it. Mm-hmm. I am here for it. So, changing gears. That whole thing was the weekly thought. We ain't even gonna do nothing extra with that. So we are picking up in 2 Samuel, chapter 2. And so, as a recap, at this point, we all know Saul has passed away now. He has passed away, him and his sons in battle. We see David killed the Amalekites who came and lied to try to get some quote unquote clout, as we say, try to win favor, but he didn't know who he was dealing with, because again, he was an Amalekite and he bragged about killing God's anointed, and David didn't take lightly to that. And so now we're at this point where Israel, about 3 episodes ago, we called it a turning point, but now we see Israel itself is at a turning point.
Yep.
The former king has died. Who is going to be the next king? And we know who was anointed to be the king, but I mean, if anyone has watched any medieval show,
I was just about to say it,
ancient show, you know, anytime the king dies, it is never a smooth transition of power.
Never peaceful.
Never.
You see all type of people doing all type of stuff, like people who were background characters or people. I don't want to give people an impression that this is a fable or anything. This is a history. People who are background people, you know, barely mentioned up until now.
Or some would say never mentioned.
Right?
Where did this person come from?
Right. What?
You 5 seasons into a show and you're like, who is this character? Where were you all along?
Right.
Yeah. So we see, reading from verse 1, it happened after this that David inquired of the Lord, saying, shall I go up to the cities of Judah? And what they're talking about is, you know, after the Amalekites and the song of the bow, because, you know, after David, he's mourning for Jonathan and Saul after he had that very elaborate song that should have been in Psalms, but it was in 2 Samuel, but we ain't going to get into that. But so after this, he's saying, after this mourning period, he inquired the Lord, shall I go up to any of the cities of Judah? And the Lord said, go up. David said, where shall I go up? And he said, to Hebron. And what's interesting to me about this is that we see that David's connection with God is back again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just to point out too, because like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, he's still in Ziklag at this point in time.
Yeah,
like
probably.
they went back to Ziklag after they rescued their wives and children from the Amalekites. And even though the city was burned, they still went to that general area.
Yeah, I think only part of the city was burned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they went back to Ziklag. So now he's in Ziklag. But we see right before then, right after he got back from the battlefield and they saw that he grew close to the Lord again. He said, my back is against the wall. I'm going to God. But now we're seeing his back isn't against the wall, but now he's rekindled that relationship with God. And he's asking God, what should I do? And the reason why I like the humility of this is, man, we were doing the math, but we were trying to do some of the math before the podcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's safe to say David was maybe around 15, 16 when he got anointed.
Yep.
And if you read further down in 3 more chapters from here, to say David's 30 at this point. So let's just say about 16 years it passed a lot since he was anointed, even probably a little bit more than that, right? But now I just saying like a decade and a half ago or 2 decades ago almost, you supposed to be the next king.
Yep.
And for what it's worth, we know the majority of Israel knows this too. Shoot, the Philistines even kind of knew that.
Mm-hmm.
But you ain't even saying, I'm going to roll up in the city, announce myself king. We know he had access to Saul's crown if he really cared about it, the bracelets, shoot, all of Saul's armor. He literally could have rolled back up in Israel and saying, I am your king now, deal with it.
Yep.
He's saying, you know what, God? I'll put all that pride to the side. What should I do? And we realized God didn't even tell him go to the capital. God just say, he say any city in Judah. Judah's like the southern part so the southern part was still closest to Philistine, honestly. Yep. So Philistine. So you can see like he ain't even going that far. And so he just encouraged God, what should I do? I know I'm supposed to be king. I know what I really want to do probably, but guide me along my way.
How are we going about this?
Exactly. So, Lord said, go. So David went up with his 2 wives. Oh boy. Ahinoam, the Jezreelitess, and Abigail, the widow of Nabal, the Carmelite. They ain't gonna never let that go.
No. Please remember who this woman was.
Oh my. The widow of Nabal. Oh my. And David brought up the men who were with him, every man with his household. So they dwelt in the cities of Hebron. Then the men of Judah came, and there they anointed David king over the house of Judah. And they told David, saying, the men of Jabesh Gilead were the ones who buried Saul. So David sent messengers to the men of Jabesh Gilead and said to them, you are blessed of the Lord, for you have shown this kindness to your Lord, to Saul, and have buried him. And now may the Lord show kindness and truth to you. I will also repay you this kindness because you have done this thing. Now, therefore, let your hands be strengthened and be valiant.
Yeah.
For your master Saul is dead, and also the house of Judah has anointed me king over them. And so it's interesting. So now we're seeing the elders came and anointed David king over the house of Judah. And here's why that's still so peculiar. So just a quick history lesson for everyone who, we back to this point. So this is a good recap. We ain't talked about this in a while. So the original people who settled down in Canaan were the 12 tribes of Israel. Judah was just one of these 12 tribes. Yep. So the house of Judah was just one of the 12 parts of Israel at this point in time. And so it's just and I mean, you get even more technical about that because, one house got kind of, because, Manasseh and them came out, and then homeboy got his house taken away from him, and then the Levites. Yeah, but anyway, the 12 tribes, just to keep it at 12 for simplicity's sake.
Yeah.
So now, David isn't king over all of Israel, is what the point I was getting to. They just anointed him king over Judah. The 11 parts still were not recognizing him as king up until this point.
Right. And so up until now, I'm not even trying to be funny, but Israel had no king, right? Again, right? And Judah, they made the first. So David came to Hebron. They were living there, not sure how long, but Judah took the initiative of anointing David king over Judah. And it's interesting because David is a warrior. He has warriors around him. You would think the first thing he would go to do is to take something by force, right? Like you mentioned. But he consulted God, and God tell him, go over there. But he ain't tell him, go over there and politic and do this, that, and the third. Not sure what David was doing specifically, but it was granted unto him because the people of Judah knew, and you could, everybody from since Abigail spoke to David before Nabal died, but she was saying that we know you're going to be king. Everybody knows David is going to be king. We understand he's a great warrior. He's one with the Lord. We know how noble of a man he is, and Judah made the first step.
Mm-hmm.
David is also from Judah.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And so now, in verse 8, but Abner, son of Ner, commander of Saul's army, took Ishbosheth. That's a tongue twister.
Mm.
The son of Saul, and brought him over to Mahanaim. And he made him king over Gilead, over the Asherites, over Jezreel, over Ephraim, over Benjamin, and over all of Israel. I like how the writer say, you know what? We ain't even going to write out these other sets.
We just go round up.
Yeah, you want to get the point? Everybody else who David was in charge over, Ishbosheth was, plus some of these Gileads and Asherites and Jezreel. Ishbosheth, Saul's son, was 40 years old when he began to reign over Israel. And he reigned 2 years. Only the house of Judah followed David. And the time that David was king over Hebron, over the house of Judah, was 7 years and 6 months.
Okay. So this is what we were saying earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Never heard of this Ishbosheth guy.
Ishbosheth.
I think it's Ishbosheth, bro. Ishbo. You see what I said?
Well, it depends on who you. It depends, because I hear some people say Ishbosheth before.
Right. That's the thing. I don't know how nobody name pronounced, because remember even Nabal, we was like Nabal, Nabal. You see what I said?
Whatever comes off the top of your mouth.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember early in the pod when we was going down the lineage for the first time, probably like episode like 3 or something, right? I was saying how back in the day, if someone named too hard to pronounce, I just used to put my name just to progress the story. You see what I said? So Abner, son of Ner, took Nakhaz. You see what I said?
The son of Saul.
Just to progress the story. But anyway, I can call him Ish, right?
Ishi.
Right, Ishi, right? So we get Ishi now, son of Saul, whom never mentioned before. Now, granted, I think like 3 chapters ago when Saul died, there were 2 other sons of Saul who weren't mentioned until that day. You understand what I'm saying? But they made a point to mention him. Now, one thing is interesting, but this man, he's a grown man, 42 years old. What did it say? Or
he was 40.
40 years old, grown man, never mentioned before. Now, obviously, we know of Jonathan, right? My speculation is that either Ishi is the youngest of all Saul's sons, like the only remaining heir to his throne, or, excuse me, he is an illegitimate son of Saul, also the only remaining heir to the throne. So now David has strengthened his case to be king over Israel. Why? Because he is the son-in-law of Saul. He also is a valiant warrior. He has also been anointed by Samuel, the same way Saul was anointed by Samuel. You understand what I'm saying? And so this Israel, this ain't like a secular nation. Being anointed by God through the prophet, like there's nothing more legitimate than that. You know what I'm saying? But Abner, son of Ner, is trying to play a political game because he's saying, all right, you get anointed by the people of Judah. No. Let me, the commander, go and quote unquote anoint he didn't physically anoint him, but he appointed Ishbosheth, or however you all want to pronounce him, Ishi. He appointed Ishi to be son over everybody else but Judah. You see what I'm saying? So it's like a little a feud going on, or like
there's a rift in the nation. Exactly.
So it's a divide right now. Tensions are arising between the two. And for more context, Abner, son of Ner, he was Saul's cousin. I think we first mentioned him in the story of David and Goliath when Saul asks who he is, and Abner said, surely it's the Lord lives.
I do not know.
You see what I'm saying? And then also we heard of Abner when David
snuck up on Saul.
Right. When David snuck up on Saul, the second time David accused Abner of sleeping on the job, which was true. And he said, Abner deserved to die. You feel me? And so I would make the educated guess that Abner is not too fond of David. Just a guess here.
I even wonder how the Philistines feel about this. Like, I can imagine some of them generals. See, this is why we should. Aren't you happy we didn't bring this man to war? But let's look at him. Now he's king.
I could imagine your boy being happy about that. Now, if they really wanted to just completely destroy Israel, they'd probably be mad that he's king. But if they would like to have some type of alliance,
exactly, form an alliance,
that might be favorable to them. You know, if that's the intention.
So, where were we? We were in verse 12. Oh, and even to just to explain verse 11 to some people too. So even when David became rule over everybody, he still had his headquarters in Hebron for a point in time before he actually moved his base to, I guess it was Jerusalem or wherever his headquarters was at this point in time. We'll get there further along in the story. So in verse 12, now Abner, son of Ner, and the servants of Ishi, the son of Saul, went out to Mahanaim to Gideon. And Joab, the son of Zeraio, and
Zeraio is David's sister, by the way. If you go to 1 Chronicles 2, verse 16, I think it is, they spell it out that Zeraio is actually David's sister, which is wild to me. So this makes him
Joab and Abishai and Ashiel. They're all David's nephews.
Yeah.
And he's even go back to say too, because remember, when we was going through David's brothers, none of his sisters were mentioned, but it just shows just because you just focus on the male line doesn't mean these people don't have female relatives.
Right. And in Chronicles, they mention David's brothers, right? And then they say, now the sisters were Zeraio and Abigail, which is why it is important to say Abigail, the wife of Nabal.
Every time.
Right. So, bro, this is crazy, bro. Like the Bible is a full circle book, bro.
And so now,
somewhere in verse 12.
I think it was on 13 now. And Joab, the son of Zeraio, the servants of David went out and met them by the pool of Gibeon. So they sat down, one on one side of the pool, the other on the other side of the pool. And Abner said to Joab, let the young men now arise and compete before us. And Joab said, let them arise. So they arose and went over by number, 12 from Benjamin, followers of Ishbosheth or Ishi, the son of Saul, and 12 from the servants of David. And each one grasped his opponent by the head and thrust his sword in his opponent's side, so they fell down together. Therefore, the place was called the Field of Sharp Swords, which is in Gibeon. So that day, so there was a fierce battle that day, and Abner and the men of Israel were beaten before the servants of David.
No, I just want I think in the King James version they say something like satirically to say like let us play, let the young man play before you, or some type of language they use, which always used to confuse me. But here it is. We see
it says play in the King James.
Right. But they obviously weren't playing.
No.
You don't play like that. But here it is, right? It says Abner the son of Ner and the servants of Ishi, right, went out. Joab, the son of Zeraio, and the servants of David went out. So we have two commanders fighting, right? But it don't mention, and I feel like this is important to kind of note, it don't mention David's involvement in this. You feel me? Because up until now, we see that David did not do anything violent for political gain. David, as much of a warrior David is not fighting at all to secure his throne. But we see his nephew, who may be the same age as him or older, potentially, because David was the youngest. I guess he was the youngest brother, but I don't know if he was the youngest, period. But it is possible that his nephews were older than him because they were grown men. And David was about 30. You feel me? David was 30 when he became king, and these were already grown men. So, anywho, so now these two commanders say, all right, let's let our young boys fight each other to kick off the war. Like a duel.
I just want to point out how dumb that game is, bro.
Yeah, bro. And it's
you
funny,
shove your shot into me, I shove my shot into you. What else we expect to happen?
Right. I think the goal. I ain't even trying to be funny. I think they was trying to like kill each other, right? But
they succeeded.
Right. But I think it was like, I try to kill you, right? Without getting killed. But because they grip each other by the head, even though you stabbed me first, I still have enough strength because my sword is so sharp to end up killing you too. And so the plan just backfired on both sides. You feel me? And a fight broke out, and a real war broke out. I can imagine nobody would be happy because of that, right? A real war broke out, and Abner was defeated. His soldiers were defeated.
So in verse 18, now the three sons of Zeraio were Joab, Abishai, and Eshiel. And Eshiel, I have no idea really pronounce that, was as fleet of foot as a wild gazelle.
A young Usain Bolt.
Fast. Fast. And Ashael pursued Abner. And in going, he did not turn to the right hand or to the left from following Abner. Then Abner looked behind him and said, "Are you Ashael?" He answered, "Yes, I am."
In the flesh.
Who else this fast?
Right.
And Abner said to him, "Turn aside to your right hand or to your left, and lay hold on one of the young men and take his armor for yourself." But Ashael would not turn aside from following him. So Abner said again to Ashael, "Turn aside from following me. Why? Why should I strike you to the ground? Then how can I face your brother Joab?" However, he refused to turn to the side. Therefore, Abner struck him in the stomach with the blunt end of his spear, so that the spear came out of his back, and he fell down there and died on the spot. Let's just comprehend this right now, right? Let's just comprehend this right now. This is a blunt piece of wood.
Bro, not sharp.
And they make sure to say blunt. So blunt piece of wood. Now, I don't know what Abner used to do for workouts back in the day.
Bro.
But there's a reason I see why he's in charge of Saul's army.
Yes.
This man just, as we say in the Bahamas, joke.
Right.
I would use a more normal term, impaled someone with a piece of wood Not so that it just came into their body. It went straight through them. I don't know how hard you have to. Because you ain't like, you hitting them with this, bro. You literally just poking them with this, bro. Like, but I tell you, stop following me. Yeet.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's a one-shot type of move, bro. Because if you miss, Azael had a good chance of fighting you and killing you because it's obvious that he was trying to kill you. You understand what I'm saying? It's obvious because you already tell him, bro, leave me alone. And he ain't stopped, right? And then you say, bro, I am going to kill you if you come to me, but I don't want to kill you, bro. How will I be able to look your brother in the face? And you keep coming, which to me says that he had every intention to kill Abner. One thing I want to mention, 1 Samuel 26, verse 15, when David spared Saul the second time, he said, verse 15 says, so David said to Abner, are you not a man? And who is like you in Israel?
I see what David was saying.
I see why David was putting such respect on his name because in that chapter, David was saying, bro, you didn't guard the king. You deserve to die. But he didn't start off insulting him. He said, bro, you a man, bro, but he ain't no man like you in all of Israel, bro. But today you do a bad thing. And I understand why David met him with such respect. And that's important to note because right now we see David's nephews. Well, I could just call it the commander of David's army, right? And his two brothers, all blood to David, right? They met up with Abner for a battle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Abner is retreating. Mind you, David is not in battle. David is not here. David might not even know about this. You feel me? And we're going to unpack why I'm saying this a little later. But David may not know about this at all. Now, the battle ended. Everyone young boys died, right? All right, we could square it away. But no, we're going to battle each other. All right, we battle. My team is losing. I am retreating. You the only one chasing me, bro. You specifically. And I try to push peace with you. Are you Azael? You say, yes, I am. And you say, leave me alone, bro. And you would not leave me alone. And you fast and you gaining on me. I say, bro, I respect your brother, bro. I do not want to kill you. I would not be able to face your brother. You feel me? And this man would not stop pursuing him. So out of self-defense, Abner killed Azael.
And the funny thing about it, right? I don't like, again, we know Abner what he was capable of, right? But bro, I think Abner really trying to deter him, but I could try to injure you to let you know he's serious. Because I think, again, it's self-defense, right? I think if Abner really wanted to kill him, bro, why just not turn the spear around and just,
That's true. That's true.
I doing this for like, I could kill you for real.
Right.
But it's like, wait, I just trying to like when the angel break Israel hip.
You're right.
I want to kill you. I just want to deter you so you could like, no, I serious. You gotta let me go. You gotta stop pursuing me in this case.
No, I agree. And that actually make perfect sense, bro, because I'm like, if you really didn't want to kill him, why you kill him such a boastful way? Like, I ain't just killing you the easy way, you know. I killing you to show you my full strength when I kill you. I killing you with the back of my spear, bro. That's gangster, but it would make sense if it wasn't his intention, because Azael, we assume, is fast because he's fleet-footed, right? Fast. So he running on you, and you right there just timing him. So you might have tried to give him a serious poke, but he was running fast too, which make it even worse.
So, and I also see why Abishai, I see all these little brothers, they hot heads. I see why Abishai was so hot up to kill Saul that second time.
For true.
Oh my, so reading back in verse 23, so it was that as many as came to the place where Asahel fell down, died and stood still. Joab and Abishai also pursued Abner. The sun was going down when they came to the hill of Ammah, which was before Giah, by the road to the wilderness of Gibeon. Now the children of Benjamin gathered together behind Abner and became a unit and took their stand on the top of the hill. Then Abner called to Joab and said, "Shall the sword devour forever? Do you not know that it will be bitter in the latter end? How long will it be then until you tell the people to return from pursuing their brethren?" And Joab said, "As God lives, unless you had spoken, surely then by morning all the people would have given up pursuing their brethren. So Joab blew a trumpet, and the people stood still and did not pursue Israel anymore, nor did they fight anymore. Then Abner and his men went on all the night through the plain, crossed over the Jordan, and went through all Bithron, and they came to Mahanaim. So Joab returned after pursuing Abner, and when he had gathered all the people together, they were missing. There were missing of David's servants 19 men and Asahel.
Mm.
But the servants of David struck down of Benjamin and Abner's men 360 men who died. So I guess 20 to 360. I mean, y'all.
Yeah, and 12 of them that already died.
Exactly.
In a little game, So it's
Stupid
really,
game.
Yeah, it's really only like 8 of them really to die.
But they took up Asahel and buried him in his father's tomb, which was in Bethlehem. And Joab and his men went all night, and they came to Hebron at daybreak. So we got to go on to 2 Samuel chapter 3. Nice, next little lengthy one.
Mm-hmm.
But this is where it gets juicy. So now there was a long war between the house of Saul and the house of David. But David grew stronger and stronger, and the house of Saul grew weaker and weaker. Sons were born to David in Hebron. His first son was Amnon by Ahinoam the Jezreelitess. His second, Chileab. I always just say it wrong because I just want to say Caleb, but I don't even know why.
Yeah, it looked like Caleb a little bit.
By Abigail, the widow of Nabal the Carmelite. The third, Absalom. Absalom.
Mm-mm.
Absalom, the son of Maacah, the daughter of Talmi, king of Geshur. The fourth, Adonijah, the son of Haggith. The fifth, David.
Oh, he ain't none of them of the same amino.
David, man.
None of them got the same with me, bro.
I see where Solomon get it from.
Real. And all this was before Solomon.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And them have normal names, man. That's the part what really getting me, man. Like, what you naming these kids?
Right.
Shephatiah,
Bro, your name is David, right? But you name your son Shephatiah.
Something, bro, like the son of Abital. The sixth, Ithream. Sound like Ethereum. Ithream by David's wife, Eglah. We ain't even heard about Eglah yet.
Right, most of these guys are in there about Haggith.
No, but see, at least Eglah got the title wife. These others said they ain't get no title of wife.
Oh, yeah, I feel you.
They ain't get no title of no wife.
Oh, I stand out of that one. I stand out of that.
These were born to David in Hebron. So we see this ain't even when David make it to the next city yet.
He ain't even a full king yet. He going crazy. Or you say he still was in that first city.
Exactly. So in verse 6, now it was so, while there was war between the house of Saul and the house of David, that Abner was strengthening his hold on the house of Saul. And Saul had a concubine whose name was Rizpah, the daughter of Aiah. So Ishbosheth said to Abner, why have you gone to my father's concubine? But I mean, I wish I pointed out is to further your point that Saul had concubines.
Mm-hmm. But see, this story, I don't have closure on it because it's like, was Ishbosheth telling the truth? Like, was this a rumor? He came to Abner. Abner reacted like, bro, what are you talking about? You understand what I'm saying? Like, you respect me, bro, right? But at the same time, I wonder if it's true or not.
Mm-hmm.
Because and we can see this later on with David's sons, but when you take the late king's wife, you know what I'm saying? You essentially saying that I am going to be king now. You understand what I'm saying? Like when you start moving like that, that's you kind of saying that you kind of showing people everything. You trying to take over everything from the former king. And so if this is true, or if this was even rumored, Ishbosheth asking him, bro, what you doing, bro? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing? And I just wonder if it's true, because the Bible don't say whether it happened or not. It just say that Ishbosheth accused him of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who knows?
I mean, because I'm like, if Abner was that power hungry and really trying to consolidate and really trying to like think, I mean, I could see him
doing that, right?
Yeah.
Because we could see, right. So we could see that Abner took it upon himself to appoint the next king, right? We can see Abner is leading the army, right? Abner, bro, we have not heard Ishbosheth give an order or anything that says what type of power Ishbosheth had or what type of brain he had. But we see where Abner is calling shots and making commands and stuff like that. And now the two are at odds, you know. So it's very on brand for somebody who's trying to get political gain to be going behind a king's back, especially if it's a concubine king, a king from a concubine, an illegitimate son. You know what I'm saying? Or one who was not planning to be king. Because if you're the fourth son, you probably didn't expect to be king ever in life, so you never. Right. So you never learn what needed to be done, or so you are unfit, you know? And so you can, in situations like that, it's easy for someone like Abner, who been the right arm man to the king this whole time, to manipulate Ishi.
And then too, just for like historical context, if any, like even after the kings died, his concubines was just his like no one else could touch them. So like it's actually treason to be considered to do that too. So this is why like Abner responds. We're gonna get into this. Why Abner like took the accusation so strongly too, because now you're saying, bro, I need to die if I'm guilty of this, you know, kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a serious accusation. Like rereading it now, how watered down our society is. Just let's call it what it is. You're like, oh, okay, you sleep with someone else, you shouldn't sleep with you. Oh, okay, what's the big deal? Right. But it's very wrong.
Yeah, that was a very big deal, and it was a statement too, though. You know, like you making a statement by doing that. This wasn't just like a hookup or something. Like.
So in verse 8, Abner became very angry with the words of Ishbosheth and said, "Am I a dog's head that belongs to Judah? Today
why'd you look catching a straight bullet, bro? Like, wow."
I mean, I gotta say it too, because like I think about this right now. You're talking to the king,
right?
And so now Judah is supposed to be the inferior, illegitimate kingdom.
Yeah.
And so he's saying again, by doing all this for you. Today I show loyalty to the house of Saul, your father, to his brothers and to his friends, and have not delivered you into the hand of David. And you charge me today with a fault concerning this woman. May God do so to Abner, and more also, if I do not do for David as the Lord has sworn to him, and transfer the kingdom from the house of Saul, and set up the throne of David over Israel and over Judah, from Dan to Beersheba, from the north to the south. And he could not answer Abner another word because he feared him.
Yes. So that's what I'm saying. Like, obviously, a guy who could pierce somebody with the back of a spear or with a blunt object is to be feared, right? But you are the king, right? So if you're the king, you could put anybody to death, right? And so the fact that you didn't even answer him, it shows who was really in power between you and Abner.
But then I also think too, I think Ishbosheth was trying probably like to claw back power and take it away from Abner. I think this might have been a lie for real. Going back at it.
The way he responds, bro, it seems like it's a lie, because it seems like he was saying, bro, after all I do for you, like
exactly.
Abner actually admit that he knew that it was God's will for David. And obviously he knew, because Saul knew. Saul knew from a very long time. When Saul was trying to kill Jonathan, he knew. So Abner would have known for sure because Abner would have been one of the lead persons given the orders to kill David. And you would know why he wants to do this and why are we dropping everything just to kill David every day for the rest of Saul's life? Why is that the main priority? And so Abner knows that. And so Abner was content to disobey the will of God. But now Abner looking at Ishi like, bro, you see what I was doing for you, bro? I was loyal to your father. You know what I'm saying? And now you insulted me because of this woman. And just like that, he say, bro, all right. Right now, no more loyalty to y'all, bro. I about to give David everything I was trying to give to you. Straight up.
It could go either way.
Yeah, it really could go either way, bro.
But anyway, so in verse 12, then Abner sent messages on behalf of David saying, whose is the land? Saying also, make your covenant with me, and indeed my hand shall be with you to bring all Israel to you. And David said, good. I'll make a covenant with you, but one thing I require of you, you shall not see my face unless you bring.
Bro.
I remember this. Michal, Saul's daughter, when you come see my face. So David sent messengers to Ishbosheth, Saul's son, saying, give me my wife, Michal, whom I betrothed to myself for 100 foreskins, if you all remember that story, of the Philistines. And Ishbosheth sent and took her from her husband, from Paltiel, son of Laish. Then her husband went along with her to Bahurim, weeping behind her. So Abner said to him, go return, and he returned.
And see, this used to be one of them things I hold against David, you know, bro. Like, you got all these women, bro. Now, first of all, we don't know how none of them look, but we know Abigail was described as being very beautiful. You understand what I'm saying? So if at minimum you have one dime piece, a dime means a 10. A 10 out of 10. You understand what I'm saying? But you got all of these wives and these other women and stuff like that. But you still thinking about your first love. You feel me? Nah.
First love.
Right. But at the end of the day, bro, in the eyes of God, him and Michal are still married. And David knows that. You know what I'm saying? So David's saying, bro, I do not care what man she been laying up with. David probably was on the run for like 10 years now at this point. Right? Because this might have been, not even on the run, they might have been separated for over 10 years because this was within the reign of David. And we know, within Judah, we know David reigned for 7 years. This coming along the time, this getting closer to the time when David actually is going to reign Israel. So this might be on the latter part of the 7 year. And David's just like, bro, anyway, it's my wife, you feel me? By God, by law, all of that. And so I need that. And it's so funny, bro. He could have asked for anything, bro. But he's like, bro, when we make this covenant, it's just one thing that I need. You know what I'm saying? I did kill 200 men and cut off their foreskins. Truthfully, though, just based on that alone, I could see why you just wouldn't let that die.
Yeah, going through a lot for this.
I went through a lot I went through more for her than any other woman. So,
but what also interested me was that it was Ishbosheth who gone and grabbed the wife, not even Abner.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I found that interesting too. I was like, so Abner just was like, Ishbosheth, you be doing this. I thought Ishbosheth was trying to hold on to this little piece of power. I wouldn't have conceded.
I wouldn't do that. I wasn't doing that.
Oh my. So now we see we are in it's so sad that the husband, I just feel bad for the husband.
I feel bad for him. That's the point I was gonna make.
He going outside.
He going outside because remember when I was saying like people need to really think about some of the stuff David used to be doing. Like David was pretty shysty. But I mean that's sad, but I mean David wouldn't have known that happened and he wouldn't have. I don't know if he would have cared for real, but think about how David feel though. There's plenty nights in the cave because David was uprooted from his wife just like that. One night he laying up with his wife, the other night he got to go on the run for years. She never come out to find him.
Exactly.
That's true though.
So, David say, anyway, this is my wife. Dang, imagine she had kids with him.
That's what I'm saying though, bro. Like this is so interesting to me because She done move on, bro. You see what I saying? She done move on, bro.
She ain't even had like no say in it. David was like, I want her back. They was like, you want her back? Shoot. Snatch. Here you go.
But think about it though, bro. Think about it. You wanted me from the beginning and I wanted you. We get married, right? But it ain't my fault I had to run away. You tell me to run away. You told me to run away, bro. You understand what I saying? And you getting married and move on. So I gotta get punished because of what your daddy was doing. Cause she ain't, let's say David did wait for her, bro. She move on, right? And like, if she had a choice, she would have picked the new guy over David. Like, I just feel like that ain't fair, bro. Like, me and you, we was in love when we get married, but I don't know if this was our arranged marriage. I hope it's our arranged marriage because I would hate to think that you move on from me so quick. You see what I'm saying? And we know that Saul, like, considered David as good as dead. So I could see Saul giving her away, spitefully or whatever. But anyway, bro, if she had a say, I would hope that she would still pick David because, you know, that's your husband at the end of the day. But, you know, you and the second dude, y'all might have done create a bond that was unbreakable.
Boy, sure got broke.
Yeah, it sure got broke now. It was breakable.
It sure got broke.
But your boy was so sad though, bro. Like,
but that's your wife, bro. Like,
yeah, you can't just let it go just like that though, bro. Like,
that's your wife. And think about like, I imagine she ran after for a good while. Because they say he went along with her. Means he leave wherever he was and he gone with her to that place. And when and then Abner was like, bro, this gotta stop. Come, go break him because you ain't getting her back.
Same time, you can't feel sorry for him, no. You know that was David's wife, bro. You see what I'm saying? Like, you gotta think about why you get with her in the first place. You know that was another man's wife and you take her, bro. It just hit me just now, bro. It just hit me. I was feeling a little sorry for him, right? Not that I want no wife get taken, right? But considering it, bro, this was never your wife, bro. You fool yourself into thinking this was your wife, bro.
The thing is, okay, like we ain't know how long they was married, like we ain't know how long.
David and Michael.
No, not Michael. Michael and this
Paltiel.
Yeah, whatever he named.
Yeah.
How long they was married. So let's just say word didn't get out that David and have 2 other wives at this point. You like David move on too.
Yeah, all right. Fucking him out of this. Your boy lost his wife, bro.
He lost his wife.
Yeah, David got his wife back as a bargaining chip.
But then it's like, even strategically, if you go back and just, again, to all these shows we doing, is like trying to strengthen your claim to the throne.
Yeah.
David was the king's son-in-law. This was the king's wife. I mean, this was the king's daughter.
Yeah.
If I get her back on my court, I am strengthening my claim to this throne via marriage.
And I can see they didn't really get along, but I think we had one more time and they was like kind of arguing a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, that might have just been a political move, man.
I really think that's what it was at the end of the day. Because because the mere fact that we got mention of David that having 6 sons with 6 different women before we have a Michael again.
Because he could have been trying to get Michael back, bro.
Long time.
He could have had a mission to kidnap her. Anyway, I get too TV-ish in my head. Like, but he could have get his wife back long. As soon as Saul died, he could have tried to get his wife back.
Exactly. I think it's more of a political move.
For sure. Because he ain't asked for her until until Abner was already trying to negotiate a deal for him to be king.
Exactly. And I think about it too is like, I put myself in her second husband's shoes. I know he really taken her back to make this deal. You didn't care about it all this time. Now,
you don't care about her, bro.
To your point, David could have done asked for a long time ago, 7 years ago almost. You could argue, or 2 years ago. But now you come to the point where you're trying to, I get her back now. Anyway, but either way, he lost out. David got her back, and that was that. So pick it up in verse 20. So Abner and 20 men with him came to David at Hebron. And David made a feast for Abner and the men who were with him. And Abner said to David, I will arise and go and gather all Israel to my lord the king, that they may make a covenant with you, and that you may reign over all that your heart desires. So David sent Abner away, and he went in peace. He went in peace. At that moment, the servants of David and Joab came from a raid and brought much spoil with them. But Abner was not with David in Hebron, for he had sent him away and he had gone in peace. When Joab and all the troops that were with him had come, they told Joab, saying, Abner, son of Ner, came to the king, and he sent him away, and he has gone in peace. Like how the Bible keeps on saying, in peace.
In peace. So it was peace between them.
It was peace.
But not with Joab. It was
No.
peace with him.
And Joab came to the king and said, what have you done? Look, Abner came to you. Why is that you sent him away? And he has already gone. Surely you realize that Abner, son of Ner, came to deceive you, to know you're going out and coming in, and to know all that you are doing. And when Joab had gone from David's presence, he sent messengers after Abner, who brought him back from the well of Shirah. But David did not know it. Now when Abner had returned to Hebron, Joab took him aside in the gate to speak to them privately, and there he stabbed him in the stomach, so that he died for the blood of Ashiel, his brother. Afterward, when David heard it, he said, my kingdom and I are guiltless before the Lord forever of the blood of Abner, son of Ner. Let it rest on the head of Joab and on all his father's house, and let there never fail to be in the house of Joab one who has a discharge or is a leper, who leans on a staff or falls by the sword, or who lacks bread. Man, that's a curse, eh?
That's a curse, bro. And that's your nephews. That's your nephews you talking about, bro.
So Joab and Abishai, his brother killed Abner, because he had killed their brother Ashiel in Gibeon in the battle.
And so this was a little bit complicated to me, but now reading it just now, I understand David's perspective, because I didn't know why David cursed his nephews so much, because you would think that the guy who was just trying to kill, I ain't gonna say he blatantly was trying to kill David, but they were at war. The Bible says they are at war for some time. You know what I'm saying? The two, and David and against Abner and Ishbosheth, and David keep growing and growing, and they kept going smaller and smaller or whatever. But it's like, these was just your enemies a second ago, bro. I get that y'all made a truce, but why such a severe punishment for killing someone who's just your enemy, And what I coming up with in my head, like what making the most sense to me, is that David is making it a point to show people that he's obtaining his throne the right way. You understand what I'm saying? I am lawfully married to this woman. I am getting my woman back. You understand what I'm saying? By law, this is my wife, because I ain't never dead. And this is the thing. By law, David could actually kill Michal, bro. David could actually kill Michal, bro. Like, you feel me? Or whatever. Because the only way you can have divorce is if it's like adultery or XYZ. You understand what I'm saying? The fact of the matter is, David saying, bro, this is my wife, bro. This is my wife. You feel me? I have a rightful claim to this throne. I have been anointed by Samuel. I have been anointed by the people of Judah, and I am trying to obtain my throne by peace. He make a covenant with Abner when he could have killed Abner. So, and you can see that's David objective here. However, Joab and his brother, Abishai, it was a personal vendetta against them.
Exactly.
And the way they gone about it was very shysty too, because they call him back as if it was in the name of David. So now I make David look bad. Or you call him back just to kill him. So you just had this big feast. So it's just like that scene in a show where you had a feast for people, and then you turn around and kill them and stuff like that, And it make David look bad. It make him look really shysty. Although that was really Joab's that was really their ambition.
Exactly, man. Because now, just think about it. Like, I already squashed the beef. The beef is squashed. And really and truly, if we being honest, if we just being honest, the reason why Ashael died was y'all fault. Y'all had no reason being there.
Exactly.
Because you can think about it. You and Abner, Joab and Abner was sitting by a pool chilling. Enemies sitting by a pool chilling because they respect each other so much. Yeah, but y'all sitting by a pool chilling, and then y'all can say, let's do a little game. And that turned into a war. What? So y'all is the reason y'all own brother dead. I'm sorry, that's my nephew. Okay, cool. I already squashed the beef with this man. This man already brought me my wife. I already threw a feast for them. And again, we start off the part saying that, this main part of the story showing that how David was really trusting God to bring him back his throne, being patient and humble. Now y'all going behind my back, going behind a covenant I done make. I already squashed the beef when you're doing this for your personal gain. Bro, that's nothing to do with me. You making me look bad. You insulting my name and more importantly, almost insulting God at this point. Because now y'all take it upon y'all. And what y'all doing ain't even really getting me my kingdom because y'all just trying to avenge y'all self.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing. Ambition is this entire story, bro. Like the way we started it. We were saying that when a king dies, it's never chill, bro. It's always somebody trying to usurp somebody, somebody that, this is my time to shine. Abner's not guiltless in that either. Abner, he wanted to shine, bro. He was trying to set up his establish his name, right? With Ishbosheth. Now, Ishbosheth looked like he is an idiot and potentially falsely accusing him or disrespecting him. He just felt disrespected. So he's saying, you know what? I can set myself up on David throne. So I can have a ranking with David instead. So it's all ambition, right? Go on.
I was going to say, it's still ambition, but I think Abner's was just a more so a case of misguided loyalty.
Okay.
I've been loyal to Saul for all these years. Even though Saul died, I know this is one true dream and ambition. So I can try to keep his name alive and keep his line going. Even though I know it ain't the right thing, but it still feels me being disloyal if I was to fall under David. So now let me promote Saul. Jonathan died, because if Jonathan still lived, even though Jonathan wouldn't have been for it, I'm sure Abner would have tried to push Jonathan to be the king. But I've been saying, bro, I done been, however long Saul reigned, I done been loyal for Saul. I would have been his chief of his army, his right hand for all these years. After the king died, that was my friend, quote unquote. So I think it was misguided loyalty. And then we see at the end, it was like, bro, I've been doing all this for y'all to Ishbosheth. I've been doing all this for you and your line. And this how I get in treat for these accusations. Well, shoot, I didn't see this ain't making no sense. Let me go back to what I know was right. I was just trying to help y'all out. So, to me, it's a different perspective, but was it right? We know it definitely wasn't right.
Right. And so, but then on David's side, we have Joab and his brothers who are relatives. They trying to take the glory away from God, bro. I don't know if this was like their main objective, but if God asking God to show him what to do, why y'all taking matters into your own hands, bro? From Genesis start, bro, we see people taking things into their own hands, bro. We see the consequences that come about because of that. This time it costs your brother his life, and it costs you your brother, and it costs y'all probably your jobs and peace, bro. Like y'all end up getting a curse, bro. You know what I mean?
Multi-generational curse.
Because of that.
Oh my. And so in verse 31, then David said to Joab and to all the people who were with him, tear your clothes, gird yourselves with sackcloth, and mourn for Abner. Bro, imagine this too, like, you ain't ever tell no one do this for Ashael.
Nope.
But now I just kill him, and now you telling me I have to mourn for him. That's almost like a slap in the face, but that's like, bro, that's what you get.
I trying to show y'all how much against this I actually was, bro.
And
then at the same time, bro, this ain't how you start a kingdom. You need people to trust you and to believe in you. You don't need people to think you some type of dictator or some type of person who love bloodshed and things like that, bro. You gotta let them know your true character, bro. And so and then guess what? Abner was a veteran, bro. He was a military vet.
Bro, and think about it. The only way Abner even let Joab get that close because he knew everything should have been at peace.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, he wasn't letting Ashael get that close because they was at war.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason he let Joab get that close is because we're supposed to be at peace. And so you just used to, he literally betrayed that trust.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my.
Insubordinate.
Mm-hmm. And the king followed the coffin. And so they buried Abner in Hebron. And the king lifted up his voice and wept at the grave of Abner. And all the people wept. I just wonder, right? Like, I know some people could cry at any occasion or cry at any funeral.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't one of those people. So I wonder, like,
I think they just summarize. And
of course. Like, you go to funeral, everybody was crying. But not everyone will be crying.
Yeah, for sure.
And the king sang a lament over Abner and said, should Abner die as a fool dies? Your hands were not bound, nor your feet put into fetters. As a man falls before wicked men, so you fell. And all the people wept over him again. And when all the people came outside to persuade David to eat food while it was still day, David took an oath saying, God, do so to me, and also more, if I taste bread or anything else until the sun goes down. Now all the people took note of it, and it pleased them, since whatever the king did pleased all the people. For all the people and all Israel understood that day that it had not been the king's intent to kill Abner, son of Ner. Then the king said to his servants, do you not know that a prince and a great man has fallen this day in Israel? I am weak today. Though anointed king, and these men, the sons of Zeraio, are too harsh for me, the Lord shall repay the evildoer according to his wickedness.
Oh boy. And I think that's important though, bro, because it's like in the human mindset, we rationalize good and evil sometimes. Like if somebody does something unethical for the greater good of humanity, we could look past it and be like, oh, well, you know what I'm saying? It's for the greater good. But nobody would say, no, you shouldn't have done that because of the fact that it benefits all of humanity, And so if, I don't know. So if, let's say somebody who is like a criminal on trial or something, right? This person does heinous crimes. If someone murders them in cold blood before they trial, before justice is served, people, they don't bat an eye. Oh yeah, he was a killer. He was a rapist. He was an XYZ. You know what I'm saying? The fact of the matter is, bro, we don't get to define good and evil. Even when somebody do you a favor, Earl, if you say, man, I really need this part for my car, but I don't got the money, right? And I steal the part for you, and I get it for you, and I steal it, right? Like let's say your life depended on this part, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't rejoice that you get the part if you know that it was done unethically, or if I had to break God's law to get it, thou shalt not steal. But in real life, sometimes, bro, you just don't feel that way. Sometimes we could bat an eye, or sometimes we could ignore, like when people sin for a good cause, But how does God look at that? In all honesty, how does God look at that? We know how God looks at it. You feel me? We know exactly how God feels about it. But in our mind, we try to say, oh, no, God don't care about that. That little lie just to get me out of trouble. God don't really care about that. God don't really care about that. But at the end of the day, if you're a man after God's own heart, back to that theme with David, you would expect him to stand up for righteousness, whether it's your enemy or not. You feel me? So if me and him was at odds, but he was wrongfully murdered, I should not rejoice. And we see that with Saul, and now we see that with Abner, son of Ner. If it was like, bro, this person, he's an Israelite. He served the army. He served in the army of the Lord for years. Put his life on the line. He led men in battle. We fought for God's people. And this how y'all gonna kill him? Even though he acted out of self-defense, Abner was literally a victim in this whole story.
Literally.
We wasn't even supposed to be bottling. We only end up bottling because of passion, right? This wasn't announced, like this wasn't an act of war at the time when I killed your brother. And I beg him, don't make me kill you, bro. If my life in jeopardy, I will have to kill you. And that's the situation I was in. And now y'all kill me back. Y'all could have killed me the day I killed your brother, but y'all probably didn't know he was dead at the time. Y'all wait till I already set up a covenant, and then y'all slickly kill me. David, like, bro, I can't side with you. Use my nephew, bro. You my own flesh and blood. I cannot side with you on that. You know? And I feel like as Christians, that's how we need to be. We need to stand up for righteousness, regardless of who do it. I've heard people say all their life, right or wrong, bro, I stand up with my sibling, or I stand up with my XYZ. You know, if we want to be more like God, bro, we'll get to the point where we detest sin. You know what I'm saying? The way God detests sin.
Yeah. I mean, like if we just think about it, the whole concept of right and wrong, and we've said this before in the pod, the whole concept of right or wrong is only determined through our own understanding of knowledge of good and evil, which is flawed, because our morality should be based on what God said. And so again, it's when you're reading the stories, be like, oh, Abner was wrong here, but right here, or Ashiel was wrong here and right there, and Joab was right in killing Abner because Abner was opposed to God through him. But it's no, again, like, so it's like, what is your morality based on? It should be based on God. And that's what David was saying. David was saying, guess what? You might think you're right, but two wrongs don't make a right.
Right.
Two wrongs does not make a right. And so vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. I knew when Saul died, what did David do? Go to God. God, what do you want? God, should I eat? He didn't even say, God, I'm king now. I need to go back. God, should I even go back? Yes. Okay, God, where should I go? You know what I'm saying? Like to your point, David said, you know what? I want to do this the right way. I don't want to establish my kingdom of balance. I don't want to be like all these other kingdoms around here. This is the point when you say God chose a king out of his own heart. I'm trying to do this the right way. I'm trying to establish my kingdom the right way, because we are supposed to be people set apart by God. We are supposed to be different. We're not supposed to be doing all these things the other nations are going to do or are doing. But now you guys want to go behind my back and assassinate the enemy. And David was like, no, I'm not for that. But it's so funny that in them doing that, it was when the rest of the nation really see that David was different. They really say like, oh, shoot, no, David really didn't sanction this killing. He actually is very sorrowful that Abner died. He's actually singing this song, this lament. He's actually like fasting for the rest of the day because he's weak. And even better yet, he's saying, you know what, I'm not even going to put them to death. I'm going to let God deal with them. They know their wickedness. And to me, that's a powerful lesson, because it takes a lot of strength when you have the power to do something, to not do something and say, you know, I'm just let God deal with it. Like that takes a lot of strength and a lot of power. Because just imagine, like, even though David was like, imagine how angry he was. Like, y'all went behind my back, y'all killed, even though he was an enemy, he's now an ally. You know what I'm saying? He still has more good years to actually serve this kingdom. To your point, he was a military general. He can help us. He has years of fighting the Philistines too. He knows the ranks of the army. He knows the soldiers. We have already built a repertoire with them. Like, he's a valuable asset to have in our kingdom. But y'all just took him out because of a petty game that y'all shouldn't even be playing without my consent. But man, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. And I think it just it's like everyone just to take a step back too and just like analyze your life. Like people you have beefs with, like, just let it go. Just let it go, man. Like, God doesn't want us to take on those burdens. And Peter, I think 5 verse 13, 5 verse 16, where it says, like, cast all your cares upon him and he will give you rest. Like, that's what God wants us to do. He wants us to bring our burdens to him. He wants to give us that rest. He wants to give us that peace. Just like Abner was in peace and David was in peace. And then someone came behind their back. So yeah, man, I think we all just need to know, like, just love your enemies.
Instead of continuing the war between houses, Abner and David decided to make a truce, and Abner agreed to speak to the elders on David's behalf to make David king over the remaining cities of Israel. Abner kept his end of the bargain. But the brothers of Asahel are not as forgiving. So behind David's back, they murdered Abner to avenge their brother Asahel. As it stands, David is king over all of Judah, and he also has the support of the elders of Israel. The only thing standing in his way is Ishbosheth, the reigning king. But we'll talk more about that on the next episode of A Breath of Fresh Air. Tonight's episode included voice acting by your hosts, Earl Roberts and Nakhaz. Remember to go ahead and research on your own in order to get a more firm understanding of tonight's episode. And if you enjoyed it, make sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. You can follow us on social media at A Breath of Fresh Air Pod on Instagram and BOFAPOD on Twitter. Thanks everyone, and we'll see you next week.